Podcasting has become extremely simple to be able to get into. With platforms like Anchor.fm, you can create your podcast and get it on places like Spotify and iTunes, Breaker.fm, whatever the case, instantly. And it's really awesome. But when we talk about creating a podcast, you start seeing setups like this with a microphone and then even like a dedicated mixer like what you see over here. And today, Donner actually sent over their PC-02 podcast integrated workstation. And this thing has been pretty awesome. I've been playing around with it for about a week now, and I've not only recorded a podcast with it, I've streamed with it on Twitch, I've done a bunch of stuff disconnected from the PC, and today I'm going to tell you about it. But before we get into anything, I want to say thank you to Donner for sending this product out, but also for sponsoring today's video. So I'm going to show you everything that it has to offer, talk about the things that you can do with it. I'm going to show you around on the console and even show you some footage of a podcast that my brother and I recorded. It kind of got a little crazy towards the end.
There's so many modders out there. Like, they have the Tacoma that's just called the Taco.
So I'll leave some nice clips in for you to be able to see it, hear it, how it's adjusting, and yeah, let's get into it. Inside the box, you're going to find a quick start guide as soon as you open it, and honestly, I wasn't expecting something so nicely printed, but this was a really cool cheat sheet to keep around, and I know I reached for it several times. Underneath that quick start guide, there's only a couple more things. There's actually the mixer itself, which actually has the 32 gigabyte micro SD card included, already installed into the mixer. It doesn't stick out, so you don't have to worry about it breaking, but there's also a user manual underneath the mixer if you need to reference that, and then there's the power cord and USB-C cable so that you can actually plug it into something like your phone or your computer, etc. It does support all of those for sending and receiving audio. It's pretty bonkers. Now on the mixer itself, let's talk about inputs and then we'll talk about outputs. On this, you're going to have 4 combo XLR and 1/4 inch jacks for you to be able to plug in microphones, instruments, whatever the case. 2 of these jacks, input 3 and 4, are phantom power and have 48 volts applied at all times. Channels 1 and 2 do not. So those of you with ribbon mics, etc., just know that. You can't actually turn on or off 48 volts on this mixer, so let that be a warning to you for where you plug in your microphones. On those XLR and 1/4 inch jacks, you get about 60 decibels of input, and that seems like it might not be a lot for something like a SM7B, but I was able to plug it in, and I was just at the very top of the gain limit. There was a little bit of noise floor, but it was able to power the SM7B just fine. For the rest of the inputs, you actually have a line in, you have a game optical port for fiber optic to be able to connect something like a PS5 or another audio interface that needs that for the in, and then you also have USB, so you can actually connect it to your computer, your Mac, your phone, and actually get audio from it sent directly to one of the faders and the banks on this device. This is how I was able to connect this to my computer, get all of these microphones, audio from that, everything synced, connected up to my SteelSeries Arctis Wireless Pros, everything connected. It was a beautiful thing, all through one mixer. For outputs, it's pretty awesome. We actually have a line out that you can go ahead and customize. There's also 4 headphone independent monitored jacks, so they are 1/4 inch. You actually get 4 completely different mixes. So you can click the knob on the left that matches the headphone that you actually have plugged in, and by doing that, you've selected that mix. You can adjust everything you want within that, and then unselect it to go back to your main mix. Oh, and for the last input, you can actually connect your Bluetooth device directly to this, like your phone. You can take phone calls and then also be able to monitor whatever you want. It was really cool in here. Everything was wirelessly connected to my Arctis SteelSeries Pros. I actually had my MacBook connected by Bluetooth. Everything was wireless, game, console, all of this. It was just all through one thing. So cool, and because it's all independent mix, anyone could plug in a headphone and be able to hear what I was hearing. Oh, and the last output is actually a TRS main output. You get a left and a right channel, 2/4 inches, to be able to run out to something like some studio monitors. Now that we've talked about it, and I've talked about the specs, let me walk you through and show you through the device. So if you know your way around a mixer, this looks pretty normal. You've got 4 inputs right here, and all of these are actually motorized. So if you change, these actually move and are active. And you actually have a web interface that you can actually do all of these controls with and control everything. It's not the greatest, but it actually does work. I'll make sure to leave links for everything in the description. They were kind of hard to find, but they'll be down there for you. So here's on the left, you have headphone 1, 2, 3, and 4. And again, by clicking each individual one, this is where you can actually go ahead and see what each person's mix is. And you can see that it goes in between each one. But we also have the one that's here that's home. This home one's actually your mix that's going out. So what's going over USB, what's going over line out, etc. over your mains. This is the one that's going to matter for that. You do have a left and right monitor so you can see what volume you're hitting, and that does have a decibel meter on the side so you can kind of understand how loud or soft you are. Let's go ahead and walk through the rest of this. On bank 1, since there are 3 different banks, and they all have a different thing. For bank 1, you actually have all 4 of your microphones. Microphone 1 and 2 are going to be your non-48 volt, non-phantom power channels. This is where you're going to plug in like dynamic microphones. And then 3 and 4 have phantom power already applied. So if you need phantom power, plug them into 3 and 4. I did plug in some dynamic mics that I know don't need 48 volts, but it won't necessarily be damaged by 48 volts, and they actually worked in here. So you could use 4 like pod mics, and it worked just fine. On the right side, before we go into the other banks, you actually have an effects piece right here that actually talks about your effects volume. I'm going to turn it down, and included, like there's a beep. They actually have several included pre-done sounds, and if you see here, we can actually go under the sampler. They've got beeps, claps, cheers, laughs, booms, cries, screams, shames, and kiss, and you can actually record them directly to the device. If you want, you can sample the sound directly from recording here. And there's actually 3 banks of those that you can do. And then also in that same case, on bank 3, you can actually adjust a bunch of other things and turn on something like
this one right here. It's going to change my picture quite nice. Yeah, that's the one.
Anyway, so there are things that can be done here. All right, so bank 1 is just your microphones. Bank 2 is going to be things like your game console, Bluetooth, and then your lines. All of that comes in right here. So if you have a line in, this is where it's going to be adjusted, your Bluetooth volume, and then also what's going to be coming from other places. Then you also have stuff like music chat, computer chat, and then console. All of these are corresponding to things that are happening on the back of the console. Whatever input you have, they will go into the appropriate place here. So just know that you have to go between the banks to find them. And then again, every headphone gets their own independent mix here. The console also features effects. So for microphones, you have noise gates, compressors, de-essers, and equalizers. And then you also have some other things, reverb delay. You have some send options where you're going to send them. And then also you have some effects, auto-tune, pitch, megaphone, and robot talk. We've already talked about the sampler and how you can expand those. You can also connect Bluetooth. So something like this MacBook, I could connect to be able to listen and then route that audio. One thing that's cool about this device is you can actually just press record and have it start recording directly to here. You can actually tap it once to pause and it'll blink. You can press to resume, and then you press and hold to actually end it. To be able to play back, you can do play and same thing, pause, and then hold to end. Under system sounds, you actually have several things like your screen brightness. You get full control of that. You also have LED brightness, which I was actually really surprised. These get really bright. So I actually turned them down, but for right now, I'll leave them up. And then you also have every color that they provide here. Some pretty awesome ones, depending on what you're looking for. A lot of options for you to be able to choose from. You can also compare your Bluetooth and be able to turn it on or off, as well as have the name. You can actually format your SD card from here. There's a quick setup. Whenever you actually plug in an XLR device, it will actually ask you and go into a setup screen. So if you actually take this and plug it in, here we go, I'm gonna plug this XLR in, and it's automatically going to recognize that there's a new input and then say, hey, what do you want to do with this? Is it a dynamic? Is it a guitar, piano, drums, or is it just audio? And then you can set up, if I chose dynamic mic, it would say, what is the gain and do you want to pan it? And the last little bit is actually the settings menu itself. Microphones, you can do all of the adjustments for the pickups, just like what I just showed you, by going into the setup menu. Be able to adjust any of the volumes, but you also have the USB set. So if I'm actually connected to USB, I can actually loop back anything I would like to be able to come out of the mix and go back into the mix. This is really good if you want someone to be able to hear maybe your microphones or your phone calls, to be able to go back through Bluetooth or back through the mix. If you've got it routed somewhere, this is how you can actually loop back your system. Your multi-channel would be your microphones, things like game loop back. You can choose all of this to make sure sure that wherever you want your audio to go, it can go. And I guess I should probably go ahead and show you the back of the device. Again, here are your 4 combo inputs right here, XLR or 1/4 inch. You have a line out or a line in, depending on what you need. Your balanced 1/4 inches, and then you have each of your headphone amps coming out right here. And then also you have this game optical drive, your USB-C, SD card, power, and then this is actually the power button that will turn it on and off. Fun fact, this line out right here is actually going directly in to my camera, my A-cam, so that anything that's going through this is actually going direct into the headphone jack for you to be able to actually capture this audio. So what you're hearing right now is just coming directly through this. I'm not even mixing it through a PC right now. So as I mentioned, I've used this for about a week. I've streamed on Twitch by having everything connected through my SteelSeries Arctis Pro base. I actually run the headphone out to the line in over there, and basically everything comes then through the aux channel. Really cool. But that was happening on Twitch. I recorded a podcast sitting here recording directly in, as well as line out into the camera. So here's a sample of that podcast.
Mud Runner. That was
that
the
game.
dumbest thing I've ever played in my life. Let's go save a town that still has all of its resources that didn't go away with the flood that all of a sudden came down the mountain, washed the bridges away, everything, but magically all of the
lumber mills are
buildings,
fine.
all of the buildings are still standing. The lumber mill works. The roads are still somewhat
The gas
passable.
station's fine.
The gas station still has gas. It's not watered down. How does the gas actually work? Okay, if it got submerged, okay, it literally has poles that come up for vapor to so you don't get vapor locked, right? You've obviously got water in that gas, and you can just drive it and go ding ding, and then you're off to go haul your little supply of toys to Keisha across the way.
Well, I think the appeal with SnowRunner is more of an off-roading simulator. You have to put the mods on it to get that fun.
I get it. But you don't have to package it with that kind of story. Just literally say, do Horizon Festival kind of thing. All right, we're a whole bunch of people who like to look at big old jacked up trucks. We get the Carolina Squat whenever we want it in this game.
Well, not only that, you could just make an off-roading simulator.
And
that
not call
gives-
it Mud Runner or Snow Runner.
Like, they're giving you all these Russian trucks and stuff. Like, it don't even have to be name brand trucks. There's so many modders out there. Like, they have the Tacoma that's just called the Taco.
So my final pieces are some of the things that are kind of difficult with this, and I just want to go ahead and talk about them and things that you need to expect. Number one, the documentation was kind of hard to find, but everything I did find, I'll make sure to link down in the description so that you have it, and it took me a while to find that stuff, so hopefully this will be helpful. I'll also link down in the description the app for you to be able to use this on Windows and control all of the faders, the mixes, presets, saves, all of that. You get multiple projects and stuff you can save on here just from the console, but also through the web interface, but also through the actual application. So it's really cool once you get it set up. It just takes a little bit. And also lastly, one of the things that I was expecting but wasn't here, and I just want to go ahead and make sure you know it as well to be transparent, this does not do multi-track recording. So when I click record on this device, I'm getting a full mixed down stereo 48 kilohertz 16-bit recording. I can record to my computer when connected to USB 48 kilohertz 24-bit, but still I don't get individual control of each fader. You just get the one output mix. So you're going to be mixing on the fly with the bank to make sure that this is done. So no individual tracks, just so you're aware up front. I'm actually really pleased with this, and with what it does and how it fits in my station. I think that this will probably be what I keep here when I'm doing kind of conversational things. But not only that, it makes connecting more devices in my room so seamless, and it gives another option for backing up my audio, because I can just hit record on this and have it be recording anywhere else, and it's just another backup opportunity. So if you're curious about picking one of these up, check the links down in the description. I'll go ahead and put some Amazon affiliate links there. They do support the channel. Thank you so much for that. Let me know what you think down in the comments about this mixer. Give me all of your thoughts. If you want to see anything else specifically with this, maybe I can release a video over on the members part of this channel. We're going to be doing some tutorial stuff over there coming up soon. OBS, Streamlabs, some really in-depth stuff that that I can update frequently that members can get access to first. I'll see you over in the next video that's on the screen somewhere right here. You got to click it somewhere about now. Let's do that. Click it. Click it. Click it.